Yeah, man, that's a clip from a new movie. I feel like we could have been in this movie, and I know our next guest. I thought he was like a family member to us, Joe. I thought he was like a family member to us, but he didn't ask us for any help on this movie where he actually plays a radio personality. But he does a lot more. DB, break it down for us real quick about our next guest.
Well, he's been on the show before when he came by to promote the sequel to Magic Mike. And, I mean, there's very few people in the world that I would want to trade places with. He is on that list because he's been a part of some movies that I love, including working with Sam Raimi and Spider-Man. He got to star with Pee-wee and Big Holiday. He was on True Blood where he played a werewolf. He's in this new Zack Snyder cut of Justice League and the original one. So he's been in Marvel and DC. He's a comic book fan. He knows a lot of stuff. And don't test his knowledge about Dungeons and Dragons. But right now he's here to talk about the movie that he's producing and starring in, Shoplifters of the World. Please welcome him back to the show, Joe Manganiello.
Joe!
What up, Joe?
Hey.
Merry Thursday.
Joe!
All right.
Man, how you been, bro? You
I've been
remember
doing great.
me?
How you doing?
It's Sway, man. You remember me, Joe?
Of course I do. What are you
Okay,
kidding?
man. Okay. I couldn't tell, man, if I left an impression on you or not, because I know in Shoplifters of the World you're playing a radio jock, and I knew,
right.
yeah, man, I knew that was coming down the pipeline, and I was telling DB and the team, yo, Joe's gonna call us. He's gonna do some research. He's gonna call us. He's gonna bring us on board. Joe, what happened? I didn't get the call.
I was channeling. I was just channeling, you know? I mean, it wasn't so much me performing as I was just a vessel. I was an instrument, and you were the wind that blew through that instrument.
Wow, man. Thank you. You guys heard that, right? Listen, man, thank you. Hey, and make sure you say that when you win these awards for this movie. All right? Man, good to have you back on the show. It's really good to have you back on the show. How you been, you know, in these pandemic times? You know, how's the household? You guys haven't got at each other's necks yet?
No, man, we've been doing all right, you know, just making the most of it, you know, and just doing our best and doing our part to get through it and be responsible. And no, man, we've actually I couldn't have had a better partner through COVID. You know, my wife's awesome. We have a great time together. We laugh all day. You know, we went through a lot of golden era TV together that she hadn't seen, so that was actually fun. And then we have a little dog that we love, and so yeah, man, we've made the most of it.
You can always tell when a man is still deeply in love because when he talks about his wife or his queen, his voice changes. It goes up an octave. Like, did y'all hear that?
He started smiling.
Yeah,
you can hear the smile in his words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, man, that's good to know. You know, a lot of folks had a lot of challenges during this time, but you know, how was work affected for you at all? Did you find yourself working more, Joe, or how did you adjust to work?
Yeah, working more and in different ways. So, you know, coming into the pandemic, I had 3 movies to release. The Sleepover, then Arch Enemy, and then now Shoplifter. So pretty much every 3 or 4 months I've had a big press tour, you know, something to take out. And so I was fortunate for that. And then aside from that, you know, for example, there was a movie that Zack Snyder had talked about shooting, and when the pandemic hit, he called me up and said, "Hey, we're gonna film it as a 3D animated film. So we're gonna send you this magic briefcase. You open it up. There's a computer in it. You'll set up the microphone, you know." And I have a soundproof room in my basement. We went in and recorded this entire animated series that I star in for Zack Snyder that takes place in his Army of the Dead world. So, for example, there was that. Then I recorded the voiceover. I play the big bad guy in the new Dungeons and Dragons video game, so I recorded that. There's a TV show cartoon called Big City Greens where I play my character. It's a cartoon. My character Viper Fang is the nemesis of Danny Trejo's Tiger Fang, so we recorded some episodes of that. You know, so it's just we just pivoted. And then, of course, I was part of the first groups that were getting back out and filming under COVID protocol. So, Zack Snyder again called me, said, hey, how'd you like to put the Deathstroke suit back on? And so went out and filmed the new footage for the Snyder cut, safely. And then I have a secret project with Tim Miller that we went out and filmed, under COVID protocol. So, I've been really busy.
Damn.
Really busy.
That's better than some people's pre-COVID careers.
Right. Yeah.
Facts.
Wow.
Man. That's very impressive, man. It makes me, because you're working so much, and it made me think of, because I know Sofía and you have such an amazing relationship. That's, I think, something else that DB would like to switch places with in terms of.
You're absolutely right, 100%. So, Joe, you just spoke about working with Tim Miller, and for those who don't know, he was the guy who directed Deadpool. And I remember we had Ryan Reynolds up, and he was talking about how many years it took to bring Deadpool to the screen. And I know you're heavily invested in Deathstroke. So could you maybe give some light about what it takes for when you yourself or an actor really wants to bring a character to the big screen, but there's so many hurdles you got to jump through, and people you have to get approval from, you have to get the rights from, the comic books, so on and so forth. Can you shed some light as far as like how long and why it takes so much work to get these characters onto the big screen?
Well, if they're seen as a priority by the studio, then they'll go, bottom line. I was hired to play the villain in Ben Affleck's Batman. But that film didn't happen. So that's really, I think, the inciting event that kind of threw off the character. In another universe, the fans would have been treated to a Batman versus Deathstroke movie 2 years ago. But in this universe, it didn't go that way. So, it's tricky when a studio only films 4 movies a year. They slate up on certain ones, and for example, like after Batman was canceled, I wrote the story for a Deathstroke origin film, and then I spoke to Gareth Evans, the guy who directed the Raid and Raid 2. For people out there who love action movies, he's a very prolific action movie director. He wanted to direct a Deathstroke origin film, but that wasn't seen as a priority for the studio at the time. And then, of course, a couple years later, a lower budget, really stripped down movie about a villain won a bunch of Oscars and made $1 billion in Joker. So, maybe their minds will change.
Okay, damn, man. Joe be working, HB.
I love it. Joe, what's up? This is Heather B. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us again. You talked about sitting home watching television, and I want to switch gears just a little bit because we have fun here being really competitive, Sway and Tracy and I, about sports. And I was just wondering, have you and Sofía been watching the college tournaments? Have you got a horse in the race? What are your thoughts on all of that, as well as the NBA? Who you think going to take the titles?
Well, Sofía is not a sports person. That's me. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess it'd be, I have a lot of friends of mine who are UCLA fans. So
yeah,
we'll see. And then like my lawyer went to UCLA. But aside from that, I mean, NBA wise,
yeah.
Let's see. NBA-wise, I'm interested to see what happens with Brooklyn. I'm interested to see what happens when KD comes back. Nobody can beat him without KD.
My man, Joe.
Joe, you just crushed me, Joe. You just
my man, Joe.
Hey. Oh, my gosh.
Come on. Hey, Joe.
Wow.
Hey,
Joe, out of all the teams you could have picked, how did you side with Sway? Oh, my gosh.
Hey, Joe, I'm a season ticket holder, man. If you ever want to go to a game, let me know, brother.
Hey, all right, I'll come back. Barclays, you and me. Let's go.
Let's go, man.
Joe, I'm curious. Since Heather mentioned your wife, it made me think about a story that we touched on yesterday with some peers in Hollywood of yours, Anna Faris, and she was very honest in an interview and said that part of what led to her divorce with Chris Pratt was, in her part, a sense of competitiveness, since they're both in the same field. And she didn't expound upon that. But it made me wonder, because we are seeing outside of Hollywood, I see all the time on social media, just couples working together, where they add an additional element to their relationship. What would you say is the key to keeping competitiveness out, especially since you and Sofía are both within the same circle?
I just think that what we do we do two very different things. I think, I think that our careers are different. I think the kinds of things that I think that the lane that she's in is somewhat different from the lane that I'm in, and you just, who cares? What does anything have to do with anything? Like I just don't. What am I? I'm a 6'5", 240-pound guy. Like there's no, you know what I mean? Like there's no competition there for anything, and also like, I produce films and, I have my own streetwear line and, I'm over here doing this and doing that. They're just different things, It's like you just do you. Be the best you. Don't worry about anybody else. And, that's just good advice for anybody who's in entertainment. Like, don't start looking around at what everybody else is doing. Just do what you're doing. Be the best you. You're not in competition with anybody else but you. Whether that's in the gym or in your career or whatever.
That sounds like I love that. Sound like some dad advice right there, Joe.
There you go. That's me.
That's
some
great.
Bars right there.
Some bars, man. You ever write a rap?
Have I ever written a rap? No, but I was known back in the day. Like my friends, my DJ friends would like, come on, do Public Enemy, and I would just like, tear in the I could do like Fear of a Black Planet back and forth. I could do like. Back in the day, I would do like Ice-T, The Iceberg, or like OG. Like I would do like the whole album. Like we would just walk around New York at night, and they would just laugh their asses off while I just, I just took requests, and I could do anything, So that was like one of like growing up. Like I was really big into like late '80s and early '90s hip hop.
Hustler. You hear that, man? You hear that, Joe? You know the words to this? You know the words to this.
Come on, Joe.
10 years ago, I used to listen to rappers flow, talking about the way they rock the mic at the disco.
Hold on. Do you know that one, Joe?
I did. I'd have to brush up.
You have to brush? Oh, okay. Man.
You with the past tense. You gotta pay attention to the
Joe
tenses.
got me here cracking up.
I want to hear some Chuck D, though, man. I thought you was about to hit us with some Chuck D. That would have been crazy. Let's talk about this movie, Shoplifters of the World. It's about a crazy night. Some friends who was just really missing the iconic British band, the Smiths. Now, not a lot of people know who the Smiths are. Who are the Smiths, Joe? What can you tell us about them?
Oh, man. Well, the Smiths are they were only together from 1984 to 1987, and they were a hugely influential band. They kind of started off the British indie movement, and people worshipped them, worshipped at the altar of this band. And when they broke up, people lost their minds. And still, even to this day, they've just got a rabid following. People go to their concerts and just cry. Even Morrissey, the lead singer, he tours out, and you'll see people in the front row just crying and throwing flowers, and he's so meaningful to so many people. And when this band broke up in 1987, there was a story in Denver, Colorado, that there was a man who was so distraught over the breakup that he went to a Denver radio station with a gun and was going to hold up the station and force the hair metal DJ to play nothing but Smiths all night long to impress this girl that he was in love with. And this movie is based on that attempt.
Okay, and what was it about this movie that appealed to you? Because you're a producer on this film as well, and you starring in it. What was it about it?
I love the Smiths. I love their music. I think Morrissey and Johnny Marr especially, they're brilliant musicians, and Morrissey was just this incredible poet, and so I was a huge fan of the band, and I loved this script. It was, there hasn't been a great high school movie in a while, and this was a great movie about young people, and also about what was going on in 1987. That it was a different time. Cliques. People fit into categories. at that time, and you had to be a part of a clique. And if you watch like old '80s movies, like like for example, like Breakfast Club, there's the jock, the nerd, the princess. Everybody's in their own category, but some of those, some of the people from that era weren't really represented back then. And this film is more about the goths, the punkers, the new waves, the mods. And some of the kids that didn't necessarily get representation back in those films, and I really thought this was like a really fun exploration of that.
Shoplifters of the World, man. I saw some clips of it, and I saw your radio guy personality. Can we hear a little bit of Full Metal Mickey?
Word.
Full Metal Mickey's Full Metal Marathon, Kiss 101 FM, Denver, bang your heads.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Jump.
Okay.
Jump right in, Sway.
saw that?
No hesitation.
You saw that? I like that. Hey, man, I was hoping you could do the same thing, but say Sway in the morning instead of Kiss or whatever that station was. Is that possible? Is that possible? Sway in the morning?
This is Full Metal Mickey, Sway in the morning.
There you go. My man. All right, there you go. Full Metal Mickey, ladies and gentlemen.
Yo.
It's on and popping. Hey, well, Joe, man, I'm looking forward, man, to seeing you when you come back in the studio. And congratulations on all the success, man. I want to say congratulations to you.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I appreciate it, man.
All
We
right.
appreciate you.
Anything you want to say in closing?
I just want to say, bass, how low can you go? Death Row, what a brother knows. Once again, back is the incredible Rhyme Animal, the incredible D, Public Enemy #1, 5-0 Sid Freeze. And then I got numb. All right, there we go.
There you go, my man, Joe! Give it up!